I'm Emily Remington, Director of Product Management at CPA.com, and I'm joined today by Tricia Katebini from GRF CPAs and Advisors. GRF CPAs is based out of Washington, D.C. They service nonprofit and government contractors, and I'm delighted to hear the perspective of Tricia because she's very involved with AI and methodology at our firm. So welcome.
Thank you,
Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So can you talk to me a little bit about, based on your experience as a practitioner and seeing what's going on in the profession with transformation of audit, a little bit of your thoughts on transformation of technology within the profession?
Absolutely. So I think it's no secret that, at least in the assurance world and audit, a lot of things have not changed for a long time when it comes to what we do as auditors. So there's been a lot of movement, I think, at least in the last 5 years, to really have a big push for more transformation in how we perform audits, how we service the clients. But more specifically, I think a lot of it is going into the effectiveness of audits. And so a lot of people, I think, when we first started talking about audit transformation, we started talking about efficiencies, right? How do we gain efficiencies within the audit practice? How do we make things easier, more smooth? How do we reduce time and reduce costs on these audits? Because let's be honest, audit costs are on the rise. It's no surprise there as well. We've got increasing costs in technology, increasing costs in staff. But what it really boils down to is I think we're starting to learn that it's not necessarily about those efficiencies. It really is about how do we truly hone into where the risks are, be able to identify specific transactions related to those risks, and be able to really perform a more effective audit. And that's really going to help a number of things within the practice.
Yeah, I agree. You mentioned, I know as a former practitioner, it was always a push for efficiency, but that quality piece and the effectiveness is equally as important. And luckily today we have the tools to kind of enable that and allow for that both efficiency piece, but more importantly, the quality and effectiveness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about what audit transformation looks like at GRF and what your role is there with that.
Absolutely. So I am a part of the audit tech pillar. So I am in charge of exploring, identifying new potential vendors and softwares, platforms, technologies that we can utilize in our practice. And so at GRF specifically, I think one of the really cool things about our firm is that we are not afraid to fail. So we are out there, we are piloting multiple different things, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and it's okay. We are able to embrace that quote unquote failure, but it's not really a failure. And so when I talk to other colleagues within the industry, I try to say, you gotta make a push to try and an effort. Because one thing might work for one firm, but it may not work for you. Because one of the challenges we have is that we are very nonprofit centric. So a lot of things that might work in the for-profit space may not work for us just because of the industry that we operate in. And so with the audit transformation specifically, we've been doing a number of things. Obviously, data analytics is playing into a lot. We are looking at utilizing the new Dynamic Audit Solutions and eventually getting there. We're not on it yet. We actually have a stepping stone kind of a process that we're working with Caseware directly on right now of how do we get there. And so we're in that conversion process. It's going to be a multi-year conversion. So that's one thing to just point out there. It's not an overnight. It's definitely stepping stones that we have to get there. But we're also looking at a number of different other softwares. I think we currently deployed and partner with another vendor here just in the fall that is really exciting for us, and I think is going to really will help with some efficiencies when it comes to the audit. And I think that is going to really play into how the staff really view how an audit is performed. Because when we talk about a lot of the staff nuances of what they do, it's tick and tie, tick and tie, tick and tie when it comes to an audit. And so if we're able to take away some of that kind of monotonous work in a sense and be able to really elevate their role and be able to help really upskill our staff, which I think is what the conversation's been about in the industry for us, it'll help create more paths for our careers, for new and up and coming staff. It'll make things more exciting and hopefully garner a little bit more popularity with the profession. I'm biased. I love accounting and I love what I do, but it's no secret that we're losing talent in the pipeline. So I think a lot of that's going to help. But that's a lot of what we're looking at in terms of transformations for our audits. So we're really helping to drive the effectiveness, but more so like how do we service the client in the best manner possible?
It's about how this transformation in technology can help not only the profession and upskilling the talent and helping with the pipeline, but really the greater insights that we can deliver to our clients and analyzing the data and using data. And, as a trusted advisor and the CPA, clients look to you as what do I do differently in my business? And how do I use the numbers to really contribute to the operations of the business? So that's good perspective. So given your role and what your firm is doing, how would you say that doing things now with a little bit more tech-centric versus traditional ways in audit is benefiting the firm, the profession, and the clients kind of on a deeper level?
So I think when I look at the audit practice as a whole, a lot of it, we focus on the risks, and we also focus on the internal controls that are at the client's organization. And while we don't give an opinion on internal controls, I think that's one of the areas where we can offer a lot of insight. So it may not necessarily just be internal controls as in this needs to be reviewed and approved, but it can go behind policies and procedures. How do we prevent cyber attacks? Well, it's not really about prevention these days. It's really about what are you going to do when it happens, because it's a matter of when, not if. So it's working with our clients in that manner now. So I think that's a lot of where the audit transformation I see. We're bringing in a lot of new different types of skill sets as well in the audit practice. So it's no longer just necessarily people who are accountants. We have people who are engineers. We have people who can think outside of the box. We have people who are IT professionals as well that are working on our audits, because there's a lot of movement going on with the new standards in terms of how we have to look at information systems that are being utilized by our clients. So I think a lot of it behind that practice is really helping to bring a holistic view on a client's operations and their organization and how they do things. And so it's no longer just, are your financial statements materially stated, right? It's really about how do you do your operations? How can you grow? How can we help you? And we really are, as you said, that trusted advisor. It's no longer we're just your auditors. We're here every single day, and you can pick up that phone and give us a call, and we have some of the best insights that we can get because of the audit process. So that's where I think it's really an exciting place for us, because we're really starting to get that relationship. We're no longer viewed as, oh, it's the auditors again. People are really starting to realize that we can help.
Yes. Well, and I like the word that you use, holistic, because it's very much not just looking at what the audit is doing or a segment of the finance and accounting function. It's really looking at things holistically. Well, I'm delighted to have your perspective, and it's exciting to hear everything that's going on at your firm. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I really do think, though, at the end of the day, if I were to give one piece of advice to any firms that are looking at things, again, it just goes back to don't be afraid to fail. And change management is a real thing. And so ensuring that the firms that are looking at implementing new systems really have a path for somebody to be a true champion of it. It's not something you can just toss onto somebody's lap and expect them to carry necessarily like a full client load. You've got to be able to give them the time and the space available to really look into it and to really vet the systems. And if it truly is going to get implemented, then giving them the time and space to work with it from a culture perspective and from a change management perspective, because buy-in is huge. So those would be my two wise words of wisdom.
Yeah, that's great, because it is. And you mentioned a couple of things. So really the time that it takes, and it's not an overnight thing. So it's an investment. But also, like with any good thing, it's not about trying it and failing. It's trying it and what can we learn from it and how do we grow from that? So that's great perspective. Thank you so much.
Thank you.